This is lunacy. This is crazy. This is a joke. The Republicrats are trying their hardest to make sure Dr. Jo Jorgensen doesn't get on that debate stage and doesn't have a chance to speak in front of real American voters. That's all they're concerned about. They did it with Gary Johnson in 2016. They've done it with so many other third-party candidates in the past decades because they want full power in Washington, D.C. Lucky enough, we have people like me coming straight to you in a middle-class house, speaking a middle-class mind, and trying to get American people to vote for Jo Jorgensen. I am Kid Talks Politics, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you the absolute craziness coming from the Republican and Democrat Party, and especially the Commission on Debates and the lamestream media, as Donald Trump would call it. Let's get right into it. So we had some very good news for the Jo Jorgensen campaign. They decided which 5 opinion polls they were going to use to see if you got in the debate or not. ABC/Washington Post, CNN, NBC, Fox News, and NPR. Those were the 5 polls, and you needed 15% to get in average. So, we are very close to the first debate. The first debate is late September. And the issue is, if Jo Jorgensen doesn't have 15%, we will lose the election. If she gets in the debate, it's our race to lose. So, here's the scary part. Let me move my camera so I can read all of this. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, Spike Cohen tweeted just a couple days ago. He said, "These are the qualifying polls for debate inclusion," which I already listed. "It is impossible to obtain the necessary 15% if not given the chance at debates #voter suppression." It really is voter suppression when you look at it, because the first poll, ABC, conducted on 8/12 through 8/15. Biden was at 53, Trump was at 41, Jorgensen wasn't included. CNN, Biden 50, Trump 46, Jo Jorgensen was not included. NBC, Biden 50, Trump 41, Jorgensen not included. Fox News, Biden 49, Trump 42, Jorgensen not included. NPR, 53 Biden, Trump 42, Jo Jorgensen not included. So how the hell, tell me this, let me move my camera. How the hell are they going to get in the debates if the lamestream media isn't going to poll them? They have gotten so scared of this third party that they won't even poll them now. Gary Johnson in 2016 got 13.6%. 75% of the volunteers are from outside of the party this year for Dr. Jo Jorgensen. Why aren't they polling them? There must be something going on with the Republicrats in Washington, D.C. that makes sure their gravy train isn't ended this year. It's sickening to me how the biggest third party in the United States isn't even getting polled. These voters want the opportunity to say Jo Jorgensen and to have their name heard. And if everyone's name and voice isn't heard in this country, we aren't a democracy. We need real people going out to the polls, voting for Jo Jorgensen this November, so we can have liberty, freedom, life, and choice. But when the Republicrats in Washington, D.C. make sure that the Libertarian and Green Party, Howie Hawkins wasn't polled in any of them either, they make sure they're not included. Therefore, we're not going to get to Washington, D.C. It's a perfect thing put out by the Republican and Democrat parties, the cronies in Washington, D.C., the special interests, wealthy and well-connected people that help the Republican Party and Democrat Party. It's all a tactic to shut up the silent majority. And the silent majority isn't Donald Trump. It's Jo Jorgensen. It's Howie Hawkins. All those third and fourth party supporters, the Constitution Party, these third parties that need traction, they deserve to be heard no matter if they have 5 votes in the whole election. Your voice deserves to be heard, and the Republican and Democrat parties are making sure that's not a thing. Donald Trump and Joe Biden say this is the election where democracy is at stake. Neither of them bring democracy to this country when they are making sure their gravy train in Washington, D.C. doesn't get ended. It's a bunch of special interests and wealthy, well-connected politicians and businessmen who make sure this isn't happening because they know if the Libertarian Party is heard throughout the country, it would be an electoral landslide for Dr. Jo Jorgensen. But it's just not happening because they don't want their gravy train to end in Washington, D.C. They don't want to stop imposing laws and regulations that impact you in the worst way possible and help the wealthy and well-connected in Washington, D.C. and New York City. They don't want to end it. They don't want to end the war on drugs. They don't want to bring the troops home. They don't want to cut the spending. They don't want to help the American people. They want to help cronies. Jo Jorgensen is the only one that brings change. I don't get why. I mean, really, look at it. Who is going to help the American people? Jo Jorgensen. Shouldn't we be interested more in the American people compared to Fox News and CNN's money and how much money they make? It is a disaster what the Republican and Democrat parties are doing in Washington, D.C. Not letting not only Jo Jorgensen, but Howie Hawkins, Don Blankenship, or however the hell you say it, all the third parties, Brian Carroll, these third parties who are really trying to get heard, they're not getting heard because the Republican and Democrat parties are imposing regulations on everyday Americans to make sure their voice isn't heard in polls and during the elections. It's a disgrace. It should be ended, and I'm going to fight until the election this November to try to help Jo Jorgensen and who knows, Howie Hawkins. I don't like his policies, but I think his voice should be able to be heard all throughout the country. We need to end the gravy train. We need to stop the wealthy and well-connected from getting all the power in Washington, D.C. We need to end the war on drugs, bring the troops home, cut the spending, end poverty like it is right now in the United States, and bring real change to America. It's not happening if we silence the silent majority, which is Jo Jorgensen and Howie Hawkins supporters. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening.